Hello and welcome back to your sixth Django tutorial, Rebuilding Master Code Online. Now, we're almost there to uploading our site to Heroku. We're still facing one issue, and if we were to upload it right now, we would get an error that says no static or something about static. I don't remember the exact wording of the error, since I try to avoid it at all costs. Basically, what the error is saying is when Heroku, when you're uploading your Django project to Heroku, they run a process, and what that process is called collect static, and it collects our static files, bundles them up for white noise to serve up. But if you have nothing in that file, if you look in your text editor, you'll see we have nothing in our static file. So when we go to run that, we're going to have an error. So we're going to try to avoid that error by creating a home page and adding some static files to our static directory. Now, we could turn off collect static when we upload, but that'd be, kind of stupid because we're going to have to do it eventually, so we might as well just knock it out now, have a nice little home page to take a look at. So we're going to use Bootstrap. Yeah, I know everybody uses Bootstrap, but I'm not a designer. I'm not going to pretend to be a designer, so I'm going to use my crutch, and that's Bootstrap. I'm going to show you the quickest, easiest way to get Bootstrap into your project, and then we are, in the next tutorial, we will set up, we'll actually upload to Heroku. So that's our goal for today's tutorial. Next thing, I forgot at the end of the last tutorial to show you how to use Git. What is Git? Git is a version control that is very helpful when you're working on projects. Basically, it takes a snapshot of your project and saves it on your computer. You make changes, and it tracks them for you. All right, but you got to have it on your computer. Also, Git is required to upload stuff to Heroku, so we're going to need that anyway. So let's take a look if you have Git first. Now, if you have Xcode, if you're on a Mac and you have Xcode, most likely have Git. Now, Windows users, Linux users, and people that don't have Git, you might not have it. So let's take a look. Git -- version. Let's find out. I got Git version 2.13.10. Let's go to your browser and type in git-scm.com. Make sure you have the latest version of Git too. Latest source release is 2.13.0. That's what I have. Alright. If you do not have Git, if you didn't get this, something that looks like this here, if it says something about path or just gives back like a bash error or something like that, then you probably don't have Git on your computer. So just go over here and download it for your operating system. It's a graphic installer. Just click continue or next or whatever it is and install it. If you have issues with the installation, which this tutorial is not designed to help you with, Google it. It's 9,000 tutorials out there showing you how to use Git. If you still have problems, send me a message or an email and I'll get it figured out for you. Anyway, let's get started with our issue of fixing the collect static. Go to getbootstrap.com. Go to getting started. Go down to examples. Find yourself the example of Jumbotron. We're going to use that one. Click on that. Right click, page source. Now, we're going to go ahead and copy this, so Command A, Command C, or Control A, Control C, depending on your operating system. Go over to your text editor, click on templates, right click on it, and create a new file called base.html. Now, base.html is going to be the main template for our project. I'll explain it when we start really working on templates, but for right now, base HTML is going to be our main template. Hit Command V and paste that in. At the top, before I forget, we're going to do a curly brace, %, load static, and what this does is it loads our static files. We don't have any yet, but we're going to get them right now. Alright. So in your static directory, go ahead and create 2 more directories. One called CSS and one called JavaScript, or JS, sorry. JS, alright? Now we got 2 directories created there. It's going to house our CSS and JavaScript. Now back to your browser, and we're just going to come down and find the CSS and JavaScript files, and we're going to save them to our project. So the Bootstrap min CSS, we're going to need that. So we're going to click on the link, go ahead and hit Command S, and it's going to come up. And what you want to do is go to, hold on, you're probably going to end up in desktop. So we go desktop, Django, master, source, static CSS. Then we'll save our file there. Then we'll close out this tab, go back, find the next CSS file, and that's the Internet Explorer 10 viewport, whatever. Internet Explorer can never get the crap together, so we're going to install, save that also under CSS. All right. Next one is your jumbotron.css. Command C, or Command S, I should say. Save that. Next one's a JavaScript, so now we're going to have to go into our JavaScript folder, so Command S, and now we're going to change this to static JS, save, close that tab, and down to the bottom, we're going to go to the bootstrap min.js. We're going to Command S that one in the JavaScript file, save that, and once again, Internet Explorer, save that, and put that in your JavaScript folder. There you go. So now you got a working version of Bootstrap in your app, and there's just 1 or 2 things we need to do here. So we're going to go back to our text editor. Alright, in here we're going to need to add our static files themselves to our link at href for our style sheets, okay? So how you do that is fairly simple, actually. We're going to use a static template tag. So it's going to be something like this. So you need opening and closing curly brackets, 2% symbols. Inside there, we're going to do static. All right, and then a string, and close out our string. And what we're going to put in here is going to be this right here. All right, we're going to copy that, paste it in here, and then we'll come and remove all this right here, and there you go. All right, so that's how we load our static files into our Django application. All right. Then we're going to have to do the same thing down here. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and copy this. Copy. Put it right here. Paste it. Then I'm going to come and take CSS over to the end. Cut that. Come back over here. Paste that in there. And then I'm just going to take all this crap right here. Delete it. And then down here for Jumbotron, we'll copy this. Copy. Put it right here. Paste it. And then I'm going to take Jumbotron, cut that out, and then right here, paste it in. All right, so you want to keep CSS. All right. Then, do we have JavaScript? Did I miss one? Hold on, I must have missed one on the Jumbotron here. View page source. Oh no, this one's commented out. Don't worry about that one for right now. We'll fix that eventually. So right here, we're going to need a JavaScript one. So we're just going to copy this. Alright. Copy this. And paste it in. And we're just going to change this to JS like that. And then we come over here and take IE over to JS. Copy that. And throw it right here. Alright. So, I mean, this is kind of repetitive and boring, but gets the job done, right? And then you got CDNs. We don't have to change these. And then down to the bottom here. Oops. I want to copy one of these up here because I'm lazy. Don't want to type it out. All the way down to the bottom, right here. Paste it. This is JavaScript, so we'll change this to JS. Over here, take bootstrap min.js. Copy that. Throw this in here. Boom. Take this out. And then copy this one more time. I swear this is almost over. The pain will end. And then we're just going to take the Internet Explorer. Oh, come on. Internet Explorer over and copy that and throw that over here. Alright. We're almost there. Come on. My mouse needs batteries. Come on. It's starting to freak out. Anyhow, alright, so we got that all set up. So this will run eventually. Next thing we need to do is go below nav here, and we're going to go ahead and put something in here. And this is a template tag that we use in Django, and we're going to say block content, okay? And close out your template tag with a % symbol and a curly brace. We'll talk about this more in a future tutorial, but for now we're just trying to get this up and running on Heroku. So mblock down here. Anything in between there, I want you to highlight it, and don't delete it, just highlight it. And we're going to cut it. Command X, cut it out, alright? Now over in your template folders, template directory I should say, create a new file called home.html. Home.html. And then in there, we're going to do, first things first, we're going to create a curly bracket and a % symbol, and then we're going to say extends string base.html. Alright, so basically what this says is, hey, this is part of base.html, and we want this to be thrown into base.html where you see block content. Alright, and then down here we'll do mblock and % symbol and curly brace. Delete that one. Inside there we're going to go command V to paste it in, and there we go. So now if we ran our site, which it won't work right this second, but if it was all set up properly, we would see that home page that we just copied from Bootstrap. Alright, cool. So the next thing we need to do is for us to display a page, we need to first give it a view. Second, let me back up a second. I've mentioned before about request and response. Alright, so a request comes to a Django project, if you will, to the URLs file. And what the URLs file does is it says, hey, let me find that URL that you just landed on. In our case, it's going to be home, so it's just going to be something like nothing there, right? So if you look at your site right here, there's nothing on the end here, right? There's nothing there. So when it lands on the home page, then it's going to go through our URL files and try to match the URL. For example, this one's would be / or / I should say, admin. If you visit that URL, it would look for that and then go here and look for the view. Alright, we'll get into this more, but what I'm trying to do is set you up for what we're doing next. Now we want to go to create a home page, so we're going to do URL, and then inside the parentheses we're going to do R, alright, and then a string. Now we're going to do the up caret, alright, and this says anything up to this point, which would be right here, anything up to this point, if it matches, good, continue. Alright, and then next we're going to do a dollar symbol, alright, and that says end. All right, don't continue past the end of our main URL. All right, so stop there. So now we got kind of technically declared our home page. All right, now we're going to need a view, so we're going to call that view home, and then we're going to have a comma, and then we're going to do name is equal to home. All right. Next, we need to import that that view, which we haven't created yet, but just pretend we did, from .views import home. Alright, so we don't even have a views file. If you look up here, we don't have a views file yet, but we're going to create that in a second. Then we import home, which is our view. So let's go up to our master here, right click on that, and create a file called views.py. Views.py. Alright, give me a second. A little parched. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and create that view, and what we need to do is import a shortcut. So from Django, shortcuts, import render. Okay, then we're going to do define home request, not with a G, with a Q. Sorry, it's getting late. Request. Alright, so in here we're going to create our home page. Now it's very simple for us to create a home page right now because we don't have any dynamic content we're displaying. All we want to do is display our site with the Bootstrap pre-made template. Alright, so we can simply just do something like this: return render and then request. Alright, so what's our request? And the request is our URL. Alright, our URL of basically the home page, our home URL. Alright, so that's the request, that's our arguments come down here. And then the next thing, render takes three, I didn't mention this, render takes three required arguments. So it would be request, which is the URL. Second one would be the template. Alright, and the third one is the context. Alright, so we need to give a template. What would our template be? And that's going to be a string, and it's going to say home.html. Alright, because that's the one we just created in our template file right down here. Alright, and the next one's the context. Well, context has to do with dynamic content, basically. So what we're going to do is an empty dictionary. Alright, so we don't have any context right now. Now, this is how it's supposed to be set up. I don't like doing it this way because once we have a lot of context for a view or something like that, it gets really sloppy over here. Okay, some people do it that way. My partner, the guy I work with all the time, does it this way, and I always go back and change it because it drives me freaking nuts. But anyway, what I do is something like this. I do template is equal to home.html. Then I'll come down here and take this out and call it template. And then right here, we're going to make another variable, set that to an empty dictionary and context. And then we're going to throw context over here. Okay. Now, if you can imagine, if you had a bunch of context in here, it would be a lot cleaner this way than in your return statement. Okay. So I'm going to delete all that crap there. So it's back to that, and for now that's all we need to go ahead and run our project to show our homepage. Well, at least I hope that's all we need. So let's go ahead and run our server. So Python manage.py, start server. Not start server. Like I said, it's getting late. Manage.py run server. That's how we run the server in Django. Man, amateur hour over here today. Anyhow, let's go back and run our server. I already ran it. Let's refresh. There we go. We got our our template displayed on our home page with no errors, minus our migrations, which we still haven't ran. I can't believe I've not done that yet. Well, let's do that real quick. Anyhow, kill your server with Command Control C. I'm going to clear my screen so you guys can see it. Now, usually I run this right after I start our project, and why I didn't tell you guys to do it. Maybe I did and just didn't do it myself. But anyway, we need to migrate our database. So to do this, all we really need to do initially to migrate our database is python manage.py migrate. But I want you to get in the habit of always running this command first, make migrations. All right, because 90% of the time when we're working with our databases, we run python manage.py make migrations. Now, if you notice, it didn't do anything this time because it wasn't really required. The next one we want to do is python manage.py migrate, and now you'll see this do a bunch of stuff. Alright, so it says apply to all migrations, admin, authentication, content types, sessions, and then you see all the migrations that ran down here. Alright, like admins to backend, which we haven't looked at yet, but we will very shortly. The next one's authentication, that has to do with logging people in and out and whatnot. We'll take a look at that. So, we ran our migrations. It created some tables in our database. Great. One other thing we probably should do at this point, since we did this kind of out of order, not in the order I always do, so I'll forget it, is we need to create a super user. And what a super user is the main user on our Django project that can create other users and do anything they want to do, but it will allow us to log into the admin panel when we get to that part. So to do this, let's do python manage.py create super user. There we go. Alright, so username, you can put any username you want. I'll just do admin. Your email address, I'm going to put mine, tom.myers2@yahoo.com. If you guys have any questions about Django, Python, or anything like that, you can shoot me an email whenever. I probably respond to that quicker than I would anything else. So there you go. Feel free to use it. Just don't spam me with porn. Alright, anyhow, email address, there we go. Password, I'm not going to tell you my password, but you can put your own password. To put that in twice, and there we go. We created a super user. And while we're talking about super user, and I was talking about the admin panel, just to show you real quick what it looks like, because I know some of you guys may be itching to see it, is python manage.py run server, not start server. Go to your browser, up here, do a /admin. Right here, you got your login. So put in your username and then your password, and hopefully this works. Yep, there we go. Here's our admin panel. And I believe I've told you before that this is really designed for the developer or maybe like a webmaster or whatever to run things in the back end. Not really designed for your employees or your users to be using your back end here. You should create your own, and we will create our own for our project. But you can add users, delete users, change passwords, whatnot here. And as we create more and more things, you'll see them showing up here too. Alright, I like to use this panel for debugging and initially getting our project running, but other than that, I don't let my clients use these. I build them their own backend just for the purpose as this is really not designed to be mainstream. Alright, so that's it for this tutorial. The next tutorial, lesson 7, we will deploy the Heroku. I know you guys have all been waiting for that, so let's get that done. So I'll see you in the next tutorial.